Have you ever stopped to consider that God knew Adam would sin before he ever took his first breath? That before the fall ever happened, God had already ordained a plan of redemption. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 17, God commands Adam, "But from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for on the day you eat from it you will surely die." Did you notice something? God doesn't say, if you eat of it, he says, on the day you eat of it. He speaks with certainty. He isn't presenting a hypothetical. He isn't waiting to see what Adam will choose. He is declaring what will happen. That right there is the sovereignty of God. He wasn't caught off guard when Adam sinned. He wasn't hoping for the best. He knew. From the very beginning, he knew. Isaiah chapter 46 verse 10 says that God declares the end from the beginning. That means nothing happens outside of his knowledge or his control. And yet, if you compare different Bible translations, you'll notice that some newer versions try to soften this. They make it sound more like a possibility rather than a certainty, as if God wasn't fully in control of what was about to take place. But Scripture is clear. Adam's sin did not disrupt God's plan. It was part of it. And that means something huge. Because if God knew that Adam would fall, then he also knew he would send a Redeemer. Revelation chapter 13, verse 8 calls Jesus the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. Before Adam ever walked in the garden, Christ was already the answer. Before sin ever entered, the cross was already ordained. Before death ever came, resurrection was already guaranteed. That's the God of the Bible, a God who isn't scrambling to fix things, a God who isn't reacting to human failure, a God who has already decreed the very end from the very beginning. And that should give us hope, because if he was sovereign in Eden, then he is sovereign now. If he had a plan for Adam, then he has a plan for you. And that means salvation is not an afterthought. It's not uncertain. It's not something God is waiting to figure out. So let me ask you, do you trust him? Do you trust the God who declares the end from the beginning? Or do you cling to a version of him that depends on human choice? God is not waiting on us to get it right. He is sovereign. He is in control. And that's the best news we could ever hear. If you're serious about digging into biblical truth, subscribe to this channel now. And let me know in the comments, have you ever noticed this before in Genesis? I'd love to hear. We'll talk to you later.
Fields of green.